talking
it
to?
good?
Oh, that's great. Whatever you just did, I wasn't looking at you. Do that. Do that for the rest of the podcast.
I don't know. That's quite a bit of work. It's Friday.
Maybe you shouldn't slouch it. Oh, don't even start
No,
with
no,
me
no, no.
on Fridays.
No, I'm just saying Friday is my not work day. You know, I have to sit up straight, stand up an occasion, be nice to people Monday through Thursday.
Brandon, I worked 2 12-hour shifts back to back. Didn't get home until 3:30 in the morning. Went immediately to bed and did it all over again today. Also, my shoes are terrible for my feet. Like I'm in a bad place right now.
Look, that's your shoe choice.
That's your shoe choice, all right?
No.
I don't get a shoe choice.
My
shoes
my
were
Nikes
chosen.
are great.
Yeah. Well, guess what? My fucking steel-toed Reeboks aren't. All right.
Hey,
They're fucking terrible.
remember all those times where like, wow, Brandon, your fucking shoes suck. Get real shoes. Fuck you now.
Well, okay, all right. So to be fair, dad shoes are actually in right now.
Yeah, they are. And look, you made me get real shoes. So now I look like a fucking loser.
Yeah, well, okay. First off, you didn't get them in off-white, so it doesn't count. You always get a black pair for some reason, and then you wear white socks.
Excuse me, mine are gray.
That's slightly
I'm
acceptable. You're anything but neutral. You're like I don't even. Would you chaotic neutral?
It's definitely a chaotic neutral because I have zero political views but manage to argue with everyone.
Yeah, no, that's pure chaos. You literally just incite violence in anyone near you.
Yeah.
You look at someone, you're just like, hey, that guy said something to you the wrong way.
I can look at someone and go, I know your trigger word somehow. I might not know you personally. I might have never talked to you before, but in 5 minutes I will find your trigger word and trigger you.
It doesn't even take that much. You just look at them and you just say you say like one word, like you look them up and down and you're just like, pants. And they're fucking gone. They're like, what the fuck you say to me? What the hell?
Yeah, and then we find out, they had a tragic fire that in a pants factory. Who knows what?
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm totally ready.
All right. God, I'm so bad at this part. Hello and welcome back to the First Person Podcast. This episode and the episode previously are kind of a soft pilot for a different podcast that me and Brandon have been wanting to do for a while. Do you remember the name of that podcast, Brandon?
The name of the podcast.
That is not the name of the podcast.
No.
No, we were saying that we wanted to do something along the lines of a series like Anime Book Club or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was I think
Don't
it was
do that.
I think it was Anime Book Club.
Don't do what you just did.
What?
You exhaled directly into the microphone. Do not do that.
Look, I'm sorry. It's right in my face.
Yeah, you see how I'm talking into mine at an angle?
You told me to shove this in my face.
Yeah, shove it in your face. Like, it has to be an inch away, but don't talk directly into the pickup. Talk across it, like this. You see, popping peas. Oh, well, no, never mind.
I can't hear you, so that doesn't do much for me.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Hey, look, just listen to the audio levels when I do this. Oh, wow. You're right, Logan. I heard it.
Okay, fuck off. All right, so this is the second episode of working title, I guess, the Anime Book Club. You got anything better? Can't call it the Weebcast. That's already taken.
Well, wasn't it like the ABCs of something?
Yeah, you came up with that.
There was something in there. It's on a doc somewhere.
What about Weeb 101?
Yeah, I suppose that's good. The thing is,
Asian culture
we're
and
not
history.
really going to be doing just anime, because Grand Blue, we're basically going off the manga.
That's right.
And hopefully, eventually, you'll read the manga for Domestic Girlfriend.
We could call it Japanese Pop Culture Literature Club. Is that too much?
1 second. I'm
I'm
imagining this in my head.
P
JP
JPL
JPCLC.
JPCLC JPLC Japanese Literature Club.
Japanese Literature Club.
Oh, then
JLC?
I could force you to read like actual classic Japanese literature like that.
Japanese literature.
Literature.
I told you. I'm not sure if I told you. I'm actually thinking about writing something.
No, yeah, you said you were thinking about getting back into writing.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's these series working on my emotions.
Yeah.
But I have a working title in mind for a piece.
I could proofread it for you. Maybe do a dramatic reading on here
I
sometime.
don't know. I might make you cry.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And then she died. That's like the
End of chapter 1.
No, that's the begin. That's the beginning of chapter 1. Like, no, that's a challenge for you. The first sentence in your new book should just be, "And then she died."
Unfortunately, that's not where it starts. The title, the working title is...
How I got hit by a truck.
No.
I couldn't possibly be hit by a truck.
No, but close.
My younger brother is actually a truck in disguise.
That's a good Transformers fan fiction.
All right, what's the working title right now?
How can I possibly be so happy by being rejected?
I like that. I was thinking something along the lines of, how could I possibly have a relationship with my younger brother who's also a truck? I'm really hooked up. Oh, man.
You know, Logan, I'm a bit concerned. Do you have a truck fetish?
No, Truck Coon gets a lot of shit for killing a lot of people in a lot of different shows, and I feel like he deserves some well-deserved attention. You know, there's more to him than just constantly hitting people and killing them.
Logan,
That's a segue into what we were going to talk about today. So we were going to talk briefly, probably not that briefly, about the series Despicable Girlfriend.
No, domestic girlfriend.
Do-Re-Mi Girlfriend. Girlfriend of 1,000 Hearts.
Yes.
I can't believe I'm in love with two sisters at the same time.
That is a different anime.
Are you sure? Because it seems like it's this one. So it's called Dan's Girlfriend. What's it called?
Domestic Girlfriend.
Domestic Girlfriend. And what's the basic plot summary for it? Like,
let's see.
Hit me with the the elevator pitch. Give me the elevator pitch for this show.
I have to remember his name again.
Yes. So imagine I'm an executive. I'm in an elevator, and you've got until we reach the next floor to pitch me this show and get me to sign on and be like, yes, this will make me money.
What if I told you we can hit 3 different kinks in one show?
Okay, I'm listening. Keep going.
Student teacher, brother stepsister, brother other stepsister, and sister rivals.
Oh wow, that actually sounds like it might be 4. You're onto something here. All right. So keep going. Give me some more information.
All right. Student likes teacher. Teacher is not single. Maybe not.
Suspicious.
Then all right. Shoot, I already forgot it. All right. So
this is my floor. Okay, I have to get off. Sorry.
Shoot. All right. I guess that's not going to take off now. All right. Retry. Here we go. Do you want to have sex?
Is that the name of the show?
No, that's a question.
I think everyone wants to have sex, yes.
Exactly. So the main guy says yes, he does sex. But he likes his teacher, only to find out later that the one he has sex with and his teacher are both now his sisters.
And then the rest of the show happens.
Yes.
So the original plan was we were going to read the manga for this because it's further ahead than the TV show is right now.
Much further.
But I got busy with work and stuff, so we're going to recap what happened in the anime. So do we want to start at the beginning, or do we want to start with the most recent episode and just kind of jump around?
Well, the first thing I kind of want to open up with is I watch, I don't want to say this kind of stuff because it's still a bit different, but I watch animes with similar plots.
Okay, you watch animes with similar summaries.
Similar summaries, yes.
And I think you kind of led me on a bit with it too when you first introduced it to me, because you basically gave me the elevator shift pitch that you just gave me, where it's like, hey, okay, so this show is about a guy who wants to have sex with his sister, who's also his teacher, and I was like, wow, that sounds like every other smut show you've ever watched, Brandon.
Exactly.
But I have to say, it is definitely a drama. It is definitely a lot more mature than other shows, I guess. It just, from the way it's described, it is definitely different from what you would expect it to be. Is it good? I'm still not sure on that yet. It's got some moments, but for me the best part is when something that isn't supposed to be funny happens, and I can't stop laughing at it. Like, there's a lot of reaction shots where one of them will say something just absolutely absurd, like, "Hey, do you want to have sex with me?" And then it just cuts to a still image of whoever it was his face with their mouth open wide, and it just hangs there for just a little too long.
You
and
have too much fun with that.
I loved that, and I just loved that there's so many moments where they could just run. They could just run and solve all their problems. Oh, you just caught your sister with her boyfriend who happens to have a wife? Run. You know, it's like, oh my God. There's so many subplots and different plot lines that you don't think it's going to take. The closest thing I could describe it to is probably an American soap opera. Like, those are the kind of plot lines and ideas that it plays with. It's not normal to see that in an anime, and it's enjoyable, I guess, if you're into that.
My thing is,
I don't know, Brandon. I don't know if I like this or not. I'm trying not to like it. I'm purposely trying not to like it.
And that is your morals getting in the way.
Yeah, that's the thing. So many... Like, we opened up Verve so that we could start watching the show, and it was the banner. And what did you say?
I said, despite how it looks, this is a really popular series.
And it's... I don't know.
Usually the general populace would be like, this is wrong. None of this should be happening. And even in the show, they're like, we are siblings. We can't do this.
That's the thing, right? Like, unlike other shows that have this plot line, like Aramanga Sensei and
Kazexis,
that one's literally porn. That one is literally
can't
porn.
possibly be this cute.
Yeah, that one. Is that the one with the girl who's a part-time model?
Yes.
Yeah, that one. That one's the one that started this ball of trash rolling downhill. It's like Katamari Damacy. Like, that wasn't the initial kickoff, but that was the one that got it the most traction. And now there's a series like that every season now. And that was what I thought this was going to be going into it. And you keep saying that I'm going to get Clannad feels from this show.
Yes.
You keep saying it's going to get that crazy. And I'm waiting for it. Like, in the most recent episode that we watched, the first thing you see is the front of a car driving high speed. And I had this moment of internal cringe where I was like, oh God, who's getting hit by a car this time? Because Truck-kun doesn't stop for nobody. He's got places to be. He's got people to kill, all right? If you're watching an anime and there's a scene where there's a car driving down the road, and it's suspiciously framed so that you can see the carnage, and someone's getting hit. And I asked you if someone gets hit by a car in this, and you said no.
I said no because someone gets hit by a train.
Truck-kun had the day off.
Well, only one automobile can hit someone.
Shut up. I can't believe you brought that up. I can't believe you brought that up. Trains are not automobiles. No.
Can't wait for the comment section on this one to be like, Logan, you're wrong.
No, okay. It's called planes, trains, and automobiles.
No.
It's called planes, trains, and automobiles because those are three different classifications of transport.
I hate to tell you, it's planes, trains, and other automobiles.
Bullshit. That is some goddamn Mandela effect bullshit, all right? Trains are trains. Trains are locomotives. Cars.
Right. And locomotives are automobiles.
No, they're not.
But yeah, so going to the series, you expect a certain standard, and it's not that. They focus very heavily on the fact that they should not be doing this. There's a lot of internal conflict.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So, like, a lot of other shows that have this plot line, the characters don't really have a strong sense of, like, ethics or morals, and they're not really conflicted with the decision. They just kind of go with it. You get a real sense of all of these characters having some sort of regret or problem with what's going on. They all feel bad. Like, it's actually a really, really well presented and written show, which caught me off guard.
It is very rare to see, and I'm excited to see it come further because in the manga, all the characters you've met so far go through giant character development all throughout the series. I mean, all of them except maybe the cool bad guys that are actually good guys.
There's bad guys.
You know the bad boys.
Oh, bad boys. Yo, let me tell you about best character, best boy, teacher, lit teacher. What's his name?
Curiosensei.
Kirito. He looks like Kirito. He straight up looks like Kirito. He's like Kirito if he worked out and he was 30 and he kept his long hair. Like it's long, sleek, blackish purple hair. The first time you're introduced to this guy, it's the main character going up onto the roof to get some alone time because he's emo like that and he just needs to write his novel because he's an aspiring novelist. I don't think I know anybody who writes professionally or aspires to write professionally that actually calls themselves a novelist, by the way. That's like such a pretentious thing to say. I'm a novelist. Boy, you're not fucking Ernest Hemingway, all right? You're writing a romance novel? He's writing a romance novel, right?
Currently, yes. But I also want to point out, at this point in time, he is not aspiring to be a novelist.
No, he straight up said in one of the episodes, he's like, what do you want to do with your life? He's like, a novelist. That was a scene. I watched that scene with you. That definitely happened. We can go back and look later. I will Google it. It'll be in the show notes.
I just remember at one point, there's a point where the literature club, the work they do, the teacher actually publishes it. And he goes, I think you guys might actually have a chance of going pro. And he gets very excited. He goes, is that what I want to do with my life, actually?
Oh, yeah, because, that is a classic teenage angst problem where it's like, oh, I like doing this. I thought I wanted to do it, but now that I have the chance to do it, do I really want to do it? I've gone through that. But
you'd be very surprised. This author seems to really like focusing on different professions. Because,
that's good.
And
obviously they have a history with writing, so the novelist aspect seems like a pretty easy character choice to add to a character.
Well, in her other series, the main character ends up aspiring to be a photographer.
Ooh. Oh, good end?
Good ending.
Good ending,
G-E,
yeah.
Good ending.
GG, no re. Oh, yeah, so got sidetracked there for a second. Introduction to big boy Yasuke Yushiko Yummy, big boy, good boy, best boy. He's up there being on the roof, being all emo and shit, and then all of a sudden he looks over and sitting on top of the roof, like there's like a building up on the roof. He's sitting up on that. His legs dangling over the edge, just fucking chilling, smoking a cigarette, because obviously bad boys gotta smoke ciggies. And it's just, like, immediately I was like, he's my favorite. His attitude, his sass, his, like, bluntness, all of it.
He has a very Kakashi feel.
Yeah. Like,
where he's just like, sorry, I got lost on the road of life.
But unlike Kakashi, who I think would he say that with sarcasm?
Oh, no, it was definitely like, sorry, I was on my way here when I got lost on the road of life, but then I ran into a black cat, so I had to go the long way around.
Yeah, but it's less of stupid, like he's playing up and romanticizing dumb aspects of his life, and it's just more like sarcasm. Like,
yeah, it's more like, sorry, I had to find a way to make you wait 3 hours.
Yeah, so instead of finding the long way through life, meaning I got distracted by a cat, it would be, oh, I had to take the long way to get here or something like that. And it would turn out that, like, his train was late or something like that. Like, there's this anger behind most of his sarcasm, and I like it. It's good. I don't know where to go from there. All I wanted to talk about was the scene where a guy almost gets hit by a car, but that's not really what happened. I think what happens is they know that we're programmed to think that people are going to get hit by cars, so they fake you out with it. But I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about Best Boy. Are there any other, like, bits you want to talk about?
Well, one I would mention is when they introduce their other main character, Momo.
Oh, yeah, that caught me off guard. Like, this show in general is very open about sex and how it's just part of life. Like, so many anime, I don't know if it's the made-for-TV aspect or if it's just, like, taboo to talk about that kind of stuff in Japan in general, but, which it seems odd considering how low the age of consent is there, but this is one of the only shows that I've seen in a while that openly confronts the idea that sex is part of a romantic relationship, that it happens, that people in high school have sex. There's other things like, I don't know, have they talked about drugs at all in this?
At this point, no.
There's no drug use in it yet, but there has been very obvious, like, hey, these are adults. They drink because that's what adults do to like let go and relax. We can talk about that in a second. But it's a very mature show, not just in rating, but in like the way it works. And I think that's really really cool because you don't see that a lot these days. Like so many shows, like there's an ongoing joke in like the anime and manga community where it's just like, why don't they fuck already? Like there's so much sexual tensions in these shows,
right?
And
like,
it's never resolved. And it's like in this show, you get to see what happens after. You're like, oh wait, they actually had sex. How do they react? How do they interact with each other after such an important moment? You know.
Well, and then there's also on the shows that are less mature, it's always like, just get together already, just date, just kiss, whatever.
Yeah, even that far where it's like the romance is never past not even the honeymoon phase. Half the time, the couples never end up together. It's always like, will they, won't they? You never get to see anything past that.
Yeah, and it's part of the reason why I'm always hesitant to attach the harem tag to this show, because yes, there are multiple girls that are into him, but
they all have full arcs.
Yes, they all have full arcs. There's actual relations that happen between them and him.
Like going back to Momo.
Yes.
Her whole character arc, which takes place in like what, an episode?
It's about an episode or two.
They introduce this girl. They talk about like basically the entire school is slut shaming her because she has sex with her boyfriends, which is like, yeah, I mean, that's if you date for at least a month, at least over here in America, it's usually in like just inferred that you're having sex at least a little bit at that point, you know?
Right, or at least maybe not full on sex, but like
a physical interaction. Like
yeah,
something
there's an
like
intimate element to the relationship by that point.
And they're giving her so much shit for this because they're like, oh, she sleeps around, her body counts in the 30s and things like that. But it's just like, that's because every single guy that we find out, every single guy, basically they know who she is, what her reputation is, so they date her. They get to the point where they get what they want out of her, and then they drop her.
And not gonna lie, felt like a bit of a whore when she said 30 something.
Why?
Because I don't have a similar sex count.
You don't have a similar body count, no.
I have a similar relationship count, though.
Which, again, in this society, in this day and age, like, shaming like that is... It's not unheard of, but when you see it, you're like, really? That you're gonna latch onto that? Just let them do them, you know?
Right, like, I'd get it if she was a bitch, but come on.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to be mean to this girl other than the fact that maybe the other girls are jealous of the fact that she's more popular than them, you know? But that comes down to, like, so her character is all the girls hate her, all the girls act like they like her, but then once they get what they want from her, they're done with her. So she really doesn't have anybody, and because of that, she easily latches on to anybody who gives her any form of attention, right?
Yes.
And her solution to keeping those people around is what?
Well, she actually had like a very deep reason for not hesitating to have sex or anything like that. She had said that as long as you give it your best, there's no room for regretting anything. Like, if you give it your best and it doesn't work out, then, oh, well, it probably wasn't meant to be. But if you don't give it your best and it doesn't work out, there's always going to be a what-if to that situation.
Yeah, and I mean, that is really kind of a pretty healthy outlook to have on relationships in general. Yeah, you were with this person for a month and it didn't work out, but at the same time, you know it wouldn't have worked out. So I think in that sense, she's a little bit more with her head on straight than most people, especially in this show. But, I mean, the idea that in general, the whole reason that she's so willing to have sex with these guys is because she's trying to get them to stay.
Well, and it also gets revealed later on in her arc, per se, that her father and mother don't really get along that well. And due to that, they're always working.
She's a
and
very
she's
lonely
always
girl.
alone.
Yeah. So, like, since none of the girls like her, she hangs out with the guys, and obviously the guys want to date, and that means sex. So, it's not necessarily, the only way to go about things, but it's definitely for her, due to the way she is, her attractiveness, it's a very easy way for her to get what she wants, at least in the short term. But that's when our good boy comes in.
He does, and he cooks her a meal.
Yeah, he just she tries to do the same things that she does with every other guy. They get on the bed, and he sees.
He sees scars on her wrist.
Yeah, like, this show's not afraid to gut punch you multiple times quickly in succession, hard. And it's just like, oh wow, yeah. So I mean, not only does she have attachment issues, she has family issues, but now you find out that she's self-harming, most likely because of all those problems. And it's just like, I'd like to believe that if I was in his situation, I would have done the same thing. I probably wouldn't have been smart enough to be like, hey, let's make you a meal. But I would have stopped things right there and been like, hey,
let's talk.
let's talk. Let's figure this out, because I don't think this is the best thing for you. And that's exactly what he does. He goes out.
He literally says, I don't think we should be in a relationship if it's us depending on each other to basically fill the holes in their hearts.
Which, oh my God, it is so nice. Like, there's a couple other shows that have mature themes like this, and it's nice to see the boy not be a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like, the idea that he actually is thinking about the emotions of these girls.
He's not a douche main character,
No, he wants what is best for the people that he's friends with, and for that he's like, oh, this could be a relationship, but it wouldn't be a healthy one, so let's find a way that we can help each other in the best way possible. And that's really cool. He does have some fuck up moments, though.
All right, like any I don't know, I'd say man, probably human, he does get impulses. He is affected by physical stimulation.
Yeah, and I think, aside from, constantly waiting for somebody to get hit by a car and constantly watching the reaction shots, one of the other things that I'm either yelling run at the TV or I'm yelling, no, what are you doing? Stop it. Stop. Why are you doing this? No.
Bad boy.
But, I mean, obviously from a writing standpoint, there has to be conflict, so...
Yes.
Even though he doesn't want to get in every girl's pants, he's slowly making his way around.
And something that you haven't gotten to see quite yet is, even when he's in a relationship, there's still conflict that happens.
Well, yeah, because all these other girls, they might not be aware of how far he's gone with each one of them, but he's not the best at hiding the fact that, these other girls are interested in him, and he's not 100% saying no. Would you say he's leading any of them on?
Not really. The only one I could kind of see that is maybe Momo. But I will say this about Momo. The way that you define that her arc is over in an episode or two, her arc is still going on.
Right.
Because as I mentioned before,
well, I mean,
all
her
these characters
going to develop
major development. Well, it's not just that. There's a very standard likes boy and is over boy, period.
Yeah. But, let's do that real quick, because I don't think we've actually done full introductions for all the characters, the main cast yet. So, we talked about at the beginning that there's two sisters. There's Boy. I don't know what Boy's name is. We're just going to call him...
Natsuo Fuji.
Yeah, that's too much. He's Boy. He's the main boy. He starts off the show with a crush on his teacher. She eventually... Well, before that even happens, he goes off on a mixer date with some friends and some girls from another school. And while they're there, he hits it off with one of these girls. Actually, doesn't even really hit it off. He makes small talk with her just enough in private. Yeah, he makes a little bit of small talk, and then she's immediately just on it. She's like, "Hey, do you want to get out of here and sex me?" And he's like,
"Do you want to sneak out?"
Yeah, and he's just
comes in line, by the way.
he just goes, "What? Yeah, I guess. And then they go back to her place. She says, I've never had sex. I want to know what it's like. And he's just like, yeah, sure. So that happens. And then cut a couple days later, and he finds out that his father's getting remarried. And the woman he is marrying is the mother of both the teacher and the girl that he's already had sex with. So there's the love interest that he wants, the unrequited love, and then there's the girl that he has no real emotional connection with, but now he has to deal with the fact that a girl that he's had sex with is now living in the same house as him.
As his sister.
And it's just a whole mess. So those two girls' names, the youngest girl, her name is Rui. And then the teacher, what's her name?
Hina.
Oh yeah, because I made a good old bazinga on that, where I was like, of course her name's Hina, cause love Hina.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the two main girls, and then who's left?
Momo.
Explain Momo, like her details, because we went over her plot, but like as a person, who is she?
As a person, well, she first approaches Rui to try to become friends with the new transfer, as she has no friends, and then eventually she meets Natsuo, main boy, and she falls for him because he's nice.
Yes, obviously, guys, all you gotta do to get a girl is just be nice to her. That's all you gotta do.
As a nice boy myself, it does work.
No, that was sarcasm. There is more to
sarcasm?
Yes, there is more to getting somebody to like you than just being nice to them. You have to have similar interests. You have to have other things. The reason that it was so easy for her was because she has attachment issues.
I'm getting a lot of smiley face emojis, so I feel like being nice is working.
Yes, but that's because you're also good at small talk and other things. He just goes, "Hi, would you like to read a book? Here is a book." Oh my God! Like, they have one interaction in a bookstore together, and that is the interaction. You can borrow a book from me sometime, and then she comes out of the bookstore, looks at Rui, and is like, "Hey,
is it okay if I fall for him?
Is it okay if I date your stepbrother?" She's like,
"No, she doesn't know they're stepbrother and sister."
Oh yeah, that's right, because they're completely hiding that from everyone, so they just think they're friends. Who's left? So let give a little bit of a personality description of Momo. Pink hair, big boobs.
Stuffed animals.
She has a thing for stuffed animals. She makes them in class and stuff like that.
But secretly depressed.
Yeah, extremely depressed. Self-harming, but on the outside acts very ditzy and childish. Like, the voice actor they chose, apparently to Brandon this is a very interesting choice, but it's a very childish voice, which I think does a good job in the show of kind of...
It kind of builds on you.
I think it's just grating for you because it's not the personality, like the tone you expected for her, but I like it because...
Most likely.
I like it because it's kind of like this kind of despair.
I find it kind of awkward during the scenes where she's trying to bone him.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, is like, she keeps up this childish personality on the outside, and she pretends like everything's okay, but on the inside, she's very hurt. So I think there's this really cool dichotomy between the personality that she shows on the outside and the personality on the inside, which again goes into how deep and well written this show that has no right to be this good is. And then
we have the newest girl who you don't know as much of quite yet. I believe her first name is Mew.
Excuse me?
MYU.
That's not a name.
It is in Japan.
That is literally in Japan. That is the sound that they have for cats. Like, when somebody impersonates a cat, they go mew. So what you're telling me is this is the equivalent of naming a girl Meow in America.
I mean, again, I've only read it. We haven't really heard it. I think it's Ashihabara.
That is just Akihabara. No, you're wrong. That's definitely wrong. Also, I think her name is probably pronounced Miyu or Mayu.
Might be Mayu. Mayu would make sense.
Because Mew just seems wrong.
Let's just say Library
Girl. So then there's Library Girl. And Library Girl is in a library. That is her whole thing. She's quiet. She likes being in a library. If you're in the library with her, she wants you to be quiet.
Well, interestingly enough, she is also, when you meet her, the sole member of the literature club.
Oh, I haven't seen that one before.
But when you meet her, she's also plucking an eyelash out of Sensei's eye.
Right. Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Definitely nothing suspicious going on there. She definitely doesn't have a crush on Kiryu Sensei. But, I mean, who can blame her?
Honestly, who can blame her? That guy is magic. But, oh, we forgot the best characters.
Who?
The bros.
Oh, the bad boys?
The bad boys. They are the bad boys. They are the baddest boys. And I think a really
Clubs
cool...
for girls?
Oh my god, yes. They're obviously the comedic relief, and they're the two characters. Like, every protagonist in a show like this has their bro friends that they're there for the first episode where they go, hey, who's that girl over there? She's pretty hot, and they do bro-y shit. And then as the series progresses, they just kind of disappear and fall off the side of the earth because the earth is flat. But I like them. They're my favorite bros so far because, like I said, every show has a bros. These are the best bros because
these are the bad boys that turned glassy, nerdy Natsuo into cool boy, nice boy Natsuo.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think they do a really cool thing here where they show them as normal, cool guys first before letting on that everybody else sees them as the bad boys or the troublemakers, and you get to see this idea where it's like they have this guy who is a sweet, nerdy boy that they took under their wings and is like, hey, we're going to show you how to present yourself and be more, confident.
We're gonna get chicks to dig ya.
Well, not, yeah, I mean, that too, but just the idea
was their purpose.
that, these guys took somebody who's definitely not popular because he used to be a dork. And they took him and made him, not a dork. At the very least, they made him average. So it shows that there's this kindness to them, and I think it's a really cool dynamic. I think it's neat.
It is neat, but there's just something about this series. They go very in depth with the topics they touch.
Yeah,
and I like it quite a bit. Like, I mean, even from the small characters they introduce, like best friend Fumiya.
Right.
Nerd friend.
Yes, nerd friend.
He has his own little quirky personality, and they have the little bits that they do.
Oh my god, they have the best little bits. Like, they goof on each other. They have a great relationship. They come and see each other at work. Like, all of the side characters, even the ones that get barely any screen time. There's literally a girl that works with Boy's best friend.
She doesn't even really have a name.
She has like 4 lines in the entire show. You see her maybe once or twice in like the 5 episodes we've seen so far, and I have just 100% just decided that she is my favorite girl character in the show. Because whenever they show her and they show her reactions to what's going on, it's just perfect. She's almost an insert for the audience. Like, anytime you have a reaction, she's standing there having the same reaction.
She is the laughter button.
Yes, it's great. Like, there's not a single poorly written character in the show so far for me.
And like they have a way of turning the characters into comedic relief and then putting a twist on it.
Yeah, no, there's not a single character that doesn't have depth to them,
Yes. So I think the best example of this is the cafe owner, who is
I'm really upset that you spoiled this for me because it was such a cool reveal and such a neat little story.
Who he does not identify as a male, to my knowledge, anymore at least. He recognizes he's into guys, and he does cross-dress a bit.
I mean, I think the first time you're introduced to him, you end up seeing him in I think he's wearing a female waitress outfit. I think he is at the very least wearing a skirt.
Yes.
Like a pleated business skirt type thing.
And our main nice boy, he says hello to the owner in his actual name. He goes, "What have I told you? I've told you to call me Mary."
Yeah. And I think that is one kind of issue that I have with her character, is they kind of play up the idea of her being trans a little bit too much for comedy.
Oh, you think?
In the beginning? Oh,
just
no. Because, like, the stuff you told me, like, it's fine to have a flamboyant character and be like this and that. And yeah, if that's what they're into, that's what they're into, and I think that works. But what sold me on the character was his backstory,
which is being an ex-Yakuza.
Yeah, and you say that, and it sounds like a joke, and it is kind of funny, but they give you this flashback sequence that really does tug at your heartstrings, especially when you jump back to it. So, like, what happens in that scene?
Well, they go into it. They're waiting on a dock to meet up with this other Yakuza group that's been giving them some trouble, kind of invading a bit on their territory. And they're waiting. They're late. They're like, oh my gosh, these guys called the time. They're late to their own time. And they're like, and the cafe owner is there, completely younger,
different haircut.
Yeah, well, slightly different. You could see the beginnings of his hair.
Yeah, it's like
now, and he just goes in this very Yakuza voice, like, "Don't worry about it. If they don't show up, we'll give them hell." And at that point, they pull up, and the ex-Yakuza leader guy, he just goes, "Sorry about that. Traffic was a bitch." And cafe owner, he just has this shock of love hit him at, like, first sight. Because at this point, he's trying to explain to Rui what love is. A very important heartburn.
And the way they show the scene, it's a little bit comedic because I think they have him moan. Like there's like an echoey moan in the background, but the look in his eyes is very genuine, and you can see that there's this like he's explaining the click where he's like, "This is the person I'm in love with," and it's very cute. But what really got me was when they fade away from that scene back into the cafe, and it shows a close up of the back of the bar. And it's just a photo of him and the other Yakuza guy walking together with big old smiles on their faces. And it's really cute. And because Brandon's told me a bit about how this series is gonna get dark. Like, it's not dark.
Well, it's not that it gets dark. It has dark elements.
It has dark elements to it that are well composed, but they leave it kind of vague. They don't say, "And that's how I met my husband," or "And that's how I met my boyfriend," or "We're in love together."
Is untied, possible for further investigation.
Yeah, so they leave it vague what the current situation is with him, but the idea that there's a photo there leads me to two conclusions. Either A, they're happily together and they're living their best life, or B,
one of them died.
He died because, he's Yakuza. Or this would also be a very nice dramatic flair to it there, which would be expected because, the Yakuza is a very masculine group. They don't necessarily like that love, and things go wrong. There's fighting, possibly a gang war over it, and then eventually, Nancy? Mary. Some white girl name. Mary has to fake her own death, and now they're both still alive, but they can't be together.
Oh, I already know that's not it.
All right, so for a fact that's not it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is necessarily a spoiler, as it's something that they took out from the manga.
Like it's not in the manga?
No. It's in the manga, but not in the anime.
Oh, okay.
And that he actually talks about how he had to tell his dad about his feelings, about how he didn't want to be in the family business anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Yeah, my dad, he did not take it well."
Oh, so it could have been a retaliation thing.
Yeah, I mean that's possible.
But it's still left up in the air as to what happened there.
Yes, currently speaking.
Yeah. But I mean that just it goes to show you the amount of depth that even the side characters get. But I do think that they kind of ham up his flamboyance a little bit too much in the fact that one of the main dishes at the restaurant is dick-shaped sausages in a pasta.
Yes.
I think that's a little bit too far, but maybe that's just how he is. But
just wait till he goes around trying to kiss male students.
You see that? I mean, I don't see that as completely out of the blue for his character, but I think I don't think it needed toned down. I think he's a cool guy.
I absolutely love his character.
At least second best.
Yes. And
Reaction Girl is third best for sure.
Reaction Girl.
She doesn't have a name. She doesn't have a name. She's a mystery.
They might have given her a name in the manga. I honestly don't remember.
I'm just waiting for the epic backstory where we find out that she used to be a member of the Yakuza with him, and she was like her right-hand man or something like that.
Well,
like,
no,
I would love that.
She reacts when he mentions he's ex-Yakuza. She eeps.
Like,
I'm pretty sure she specifically says, "Eep."
Like, Eep, you're not supposed to say that, or
No,
Eep, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like a what the fuck, because neither her nor Nerd Friend knew that.
Wow, he just dropped that out of the blue?
Yes.
That's interesting. That means he's very, like, locked shut about that, but, you know, girl needs love advice.
Yeah. Boy, does she.
I don't know. You keep saying that Rui's going to be the best character. I'm still not seeing it.
I can tell you right now.
When am I going to be sold on this?
Well, I mean, I told you it's a gradual sell, because as I mentioned already several times, all these characters get major character development. Rui being one of the biggest ones of them all, to the point of where she actually physically changes looks.
Ooh.
Yes.
Does she ape her sister's style and grow out her hair?
She does grow out her hair, but not as long as Hina's.
Hmm.
It's a different style. She gets her own profession of what she wants to do, because I believe I mentioned this already before. This anime manga does span from high school into their college years.
Oh no, you did okay? Because that was actually gonna be my question. Because like, there is a very heavy focus on careers and like futures in this, and I was wondering if that was going to be something that was being explored.
Yes.
In the show, because I like that. I like the idea of this being something.
I love shows that do that.
A long spanning show. Normally, time either doesn't exist in these shows.
Right. It's just like, this is our 5th summer break of high school.
Or, you know, it like the most you'll get is you can kind of see how the entire show takes place within a year, or at most a couple years of high school, like 2nd through 3rd year.
Yes, this one they're very specific. Right now, all well, I don't want to say all,
because they're taking their
most of
finals.
The characters are in their 2nd year.
Yeah, they just got done taking their finals for 2nd year, right?
Not necessarily. So I mentioned this while we were watching the episode. Japanese school years are fucking weird.
Well, no, I've picked up on that through the
different animes,
through the decades, dozens, hundreds of shows where it's like the starting point is winter, the ending point is winter, and summer break is the shorter break.
Yeah, and I still don't really have a full grasp on it. So final exams are like the semester final, not the year final.
Oh, okay. So it's not what was it called in that fucking Chinese game we played?
I don't even the Gakko or whatever.
Gakao. It's not the Gakao. It's not the placement exams.
No, it's not the placement exams. They do go through that. They do go through placement exams.
They go through their Chunin exam?
Yes. But my main point in bringing that up, Rui does not go to college. She instead gets apprenticed.
Man, it's so nice in Japan. You can actually be like, hey, I know a career I want. Can I just go fucking do it? Do I need this degree? Like, if I could just walk up to a radio producer and be like, hey, can I be your apprentice? That would be so much cooler than, hey, can I be your unpaid intern for an entire semester?
Well, I mean, there's a reason she gets to do it as easily as she does.
Connections.
Well, she ends up being apprenticed to her father.
Oh shit! Yeah. So we've talked about the children and their relationships. Let's touch on mommies and daddies real quick.
Well, as we're introduced to them, main boy's dad. The first interaction we get with him is him revealing to his son that he's suddenly getting remarried. We find out that his mom has been dead for 10 years, and he's pretty accepting of the remarriage. He's kind of like, wow, it would have been kind of nice to know, about anything about this before you get married. His father's very spontaneous, it seems like. He's very emotional.
It doesn't seem like he's spontaneous. It seems like he's secretive. Like, how long was he dating before they got remarried?
See, I'm not necessarily sure if he's secretive. I feel like it's more like, kind of like you. He just forgets to say something about it. It's just like, oh yeah, Since you're here, you know I've been on the phone all these days. I've been talking to my girlfriend.
Oh my god, that is a little bit too accurate.
I mean, like, even in the first scene we see him,
yeah, no.
He's just like, oh, they're here, come here. He literally drags his son out of his room down the hallway. And his son's just like, wait, they're coming here now?
Didn't you just tell me about them? Yeah, now that you've explained it that way, yeah, that I understand better now because yeah, it's basically just me like, oh hey, I forgot to tell you, this is happening. Like I just did that to you today.
Yeah.
Like,
and another proof of this is when Natsuo runs away from home because he kissed his sister, and she called him a child. So he runs away from home. When he comes back, I believe they say it's 2 days later.
Yeah, 2 days later, they're already trying to get a divorce.
Off, the divorce papers are there. They're like, we thought you were against the marriage. We didn't want to hurt you kids anymore. And he's like, I was gone for 2 days. 2 days.
Very spontaneous, yes. Which I wonder if the mother is just... You don't get as much characterization with the mother so far.
The mother seems to just be kind of swept up in his emotions. And she kind of says that it's his sincerity that she's fallen in love with. And he says the most cliche line of... because she's very stone cold when Natsuo's father meets her. Because what we're told is... that Rui and Hina's father had an affair, and then they split up. I will say right now, that is not the actual case.
Oh.
He did not have an affair. And that's all I will give on that.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Because we are going to continue talking about the manga, even if the anime ends. Because although this is really popular, do you see this getting a season 2 right now?
Well, you see, and I've mentioned this to you before, and you're very surprised. This is technically a shonen. So it may not work in the season's format. It may be main, filler, main.
Well, you say that, but I mean, My Hero Academia has been doing a pretty good job of running the seasonal format so far.
My Hero is one of the few that does seasonal, however...
And I believe that's the same thing that Black Clover's running the same way right now, isn't it?
No.
It's running...
They have not taken a break.
Really?
As far as I'm aware of. As far as I've been watching, they have not taken a break.
Huh. I thought they were going to run seasonal 2, because that's been going for over a year now, right?
It's up there. It's about 70-ish episodes in, so a bit over a year.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, you did tell me it was a shonen, because the way you told me it was a shonen was we were getting ready to play Jump Stars or whatever it was called, and you're like, oh yeah, the characters from Girlfriend are in this. I was like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, it's in the Shonen Jump. And I was, no, it's not in Shonen Jump.
Yeah,
and you pull up the publication.
Yeah. I pulled up the publication. I was like, look, shonen.
Which is crazy because, like,
it is
in the manga,
mature.
it's got
the manga shows everything.
Boobies and nip-nips and butts.
Yes.
You get like half a butt so far in the anime. They
give you the half butt and they go, eh.
They tease you with it, but dang, the manga's
you also
like
get that side cleavage.
Yeah. And fucking, oh hey, can we talk about what happened in this episode? I was actually thinking about this before it even happened, because one of the things I was thinking was like, oh yeah, it's not very often that I see a mature show like this, and immediately what popped into my head was, you wouldn't watch this because it had mechs in it, but there was a really cool show. It was one of the first shows I ever watched. It was called Code Geass.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of Code Geass. I never finished it because for some reason at first it was very hard to find episodes for some of the arcs.
Well, that's probably because when you were, what year was it?
Who fucking knows? High school something?
Yeah, high school something. So before Crunchyroll was big. Code Geass is on Crunchyroll now.
Before Crunchyroll was big. I was using some shady ass website.
Yeah, no, high school, getting into anime when we did, it was like right before the advent of streaming anime. So a lot of the time when we used to watch anime back in high school, it was Google the name of the show, free streaming episode 1, and then you'd find one sketchy ass website, and then you'd watch it on there, and that's how I watched Code Geass. But the reason I brought up Code Geass was
there's a shower scene.
Well, no, the shower scene is when I was like, Code Geass was my first introduction to non-shonen like anime meant for people over the age of 14. I was like, holy shit, there's boobs in this. But there's the romantic subplots in Code Geass. I think you'd be really interested in them. Like, if I could cut together everything outside of the mech fights, I think you'd enjoy it.
It's quite possible.
But there's a character in that show. She's a nerdy girl, and she has a crush on one of the characters. And there's a scene. It's a very infamous scene. It's memed to hell, but it's the table scene. So she's sitting in the student council club room. It's late at night. All the lights are off, and she's got a picture of the guy she likes. She's holding it in her hands. It's a photograph, and you start.
She's fingering herself.
No, she's not fingering herself. You think she's going to. Well, I didn't think this because, again, this was before I knew mature themes like that could be involved in anime.
It's kind of funny because I did know that already.
Yeah, no, it took me a long time before I ever like found out about shows like that. But because I did not know what ecchi was, I just knew that was the word that girls would scream at guys, and it would be translated as pervert.
No, that's hentai.
No, hentai and ecchi both get translated as pervert for some reason.
Japanese is weird.
I know. I think that was just a lazy translation because these were all fan subs back in the day. But
fan subs.
Oh man, the table starts shaking, and all you see is the table, and then the shot cuts to a wide shot, and you see her kind of shaking, and you realize that she's humping the corner of the table, and. It's another one of those things where it's like it was a dramatic and emotional moment for the character, and they weren't necessarily playing it up as like, oh, isn't this hot?
You've never humped a table, Logan?
No, I've never humped a table. I'm sure people have. I mean, there's jokes about American housewives riding their fucking not their dishwashers but their washing machines.
I've humped a fridge before.
Thank you, Brandon.
It's for humankind.
I know. It's science. You have to figure it out one way or another.
It's oh shoot, what?
But there's a scene like that in this one. This is only the second time in an anime where I have seen a masturbation scene, period, and B, I think it's more likely for it to be a female masturbation scene, just because I feel like most people would be like,
I turned off by watching.
Not even turned off. I think there's just a stigma around male masturbation in general, especially in Japan, which is a very sexually repressed country. But I was like, holy shit! I was just thinking it would be crazy if they did this, and it kind of came out of right field. Like, there was no build up to it. It was after a lot of emotional baggage had been lifted, but it still came out of nowhere. And you said that they held on to it and drug it out a lot more than in the manga. Like, how many panels was it in the manga?
In the manga, it was only about 2 or 3 panels.
Was there a full page spread at all?
I don't believe so.
So he just peeks in there, sees her. Friday guys, closed door.
Well, I mean, the same thing where he almost gets caught happens.
Well, yeah, I wasn't questioning that. I was more just like, how long does the camera hang on her? Because it hung on her.
It does hang on her in the anime. The thing is, in the manga, the sex isn't really the focus. It's still there. It's just the focus of that scene was the fact that she was saying Shu's name. It was gonna be like, why is she saying his name?
Which is the ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
Which was part of one of her arcs, where she had to get over the fact that she broke up with a guy because he was dating another girl, and he was douche. But yeah, it was really weird to me how long they hung on it. I think I know what they were going for from like a cinematic and artistic angle, but I think there was a little bit of that like big man upstairs like, hey,
I'm not really sure.
Hang on that crotch shot just a little bit more so that we can get some horny teenage boys in here and get some horny teenage boy money, you know? Like, I'm sure that was a small motivator, but there did seem to be some sort of artistic reasoning behind the scene.
I'm really curious about who's directing this.
You know directors, Brandon?
Not really. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone said School Days.
No, because people make big deals out of whenever the people for School Days make anything.
Oh, I know. They did Digimon.
Yeah, and first off, they did a good job with that.
They did.
But we need to do an episode on School Days sometimes, because I still stand by my statement that School Days is a work of art.
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but
I mean, the way I introduced it to you was great,
incorrect and
perfect
cruel.
in every single way. But I get some school day vibes from this, and if it
Yes.
wasn't for you having already read the manga, I would constantly be on edge, worried that it eventually.
This is actually my revenge.
It might be. It might be. I mean, you keep telling me crazy things and then saying, "Nah, that's not gonna happen."
Yeah, I do have you going, don't I?
Yeah, everyone like when you told me. What did you tell me this time when we were watching this most recent episode?
I don't know if it was this episode. I believe it was the episode before that. We were talking about. I told you he gets stabbed,
Yeah, you told me he gets stabbed.
and then I covered up with while he's trying to cook with Hina because Hina's a terrible cook.
Yeah, so
And you go, oh, that's funny, huh? And I go, no, but really.
because anything is possible, anything is plausible with this show. Like you say, oh, she gets hit by a train, and I can't.
No, she does not.
No,
None of the characters you know get hit by
a female gets hit by a train.
Not a female.
A male gets hit by a train. Oh, we're slowly
Actually, there's multiple people that get hit by trains.
at the same time.
No, different times.
Jesus Christ, this show. Like you keep like talking about these dark moments and nothing dark has happened yet, but because of the way it's moving, I can see it, I can sense it, I can feel it. And like I said, I saw that car and I was like, nope, someone's getting hit by a car. It's going to happen.
Now, some of these dark times, I'm going to try and explain it without spoiling much. Some of these dark times happen while he's becoming a novelist. He gets apprenticed underneath another novelist that still does the old sensei and apprentice work go. This guy teaches him how he needs to investigate, how he needs to interview and get into the field he's writing about. For example, one of them is
You can't tell a good story unless you can, draw from real life. I think that's pretty common
that's
advice for
basically
writers.
what they focus on. And one of the ones he does is he ends up interviewing a hostess from the club, and he ends up finding out that she's actually a failed actress.
Wow.
And it goes into her story. They actually end up trying to find her closure, and some dark stuff happens there, which I'm not going to say exactly what, but he ends up turning it into a novel, and that's a bit of the formula it goes on. Like, a lot of this dark stuff happens around people he's interviewing, experiences he's having. One of the characters that he gets acquainted with in college, he joins, instead of the literature club in college, he joins the drama club.
Smart move. That is a smart move.
Because he learns how to do script writing, stuff like that, to further advance his
Literary.
Yes, that.
Man, other than the having sex thing, I'm feeling pretty connected to this character.
Right? But
Fuck you.
But the character that gets him to join the drama club in which he gets kidnapped. Never mind. The character that gets him to join the club. You think she is into him, and one of the other characters in the club is definitely into him. And at one point she goes, looks like I have a love rival. And at first you think she's referencing the other girl. And that's when you realize she's referencing him.
Oh, snap, lesbian.
Yes. And that's when you find out one of the other characters in that club had a best friend who ended up being gay and confessing to him. And he didn't know how to respond. And something terrible happened to his best friend.
Yeah, man, this
show goes into every little nook and cranny of anything you could possibly think of.
It's crazy, like, how well plotted out it seems. Like, okay, so do you know how many episodes this is greenlit for? Is this a 12 episode or a 24?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could check. My anime list typically has that.
Yeah, Google that. I'm going to keep talking though. Like, this seems to be one of the only shows in a long time where the anime has actually done what most companies expect the job to be of, like, we're going to produce a show with the intent of getting you to read the manga. And I think this is doing a great job of getting me very interested in the plot and seeing where it goes. And I really hope it gets okayed for a season 2. I really hope that they continue this plot because it seems to be really popular. like way more popular than I expected it to be, but I think that's everyone's reaction is either they've read it and they're like, yeah, I'm on this, or it's people just clicking on it and being, holy shit, this is way bigger than I expected it to be. And I really hope it gets a season 2. I really do. But, you know, I don't know. It's shows like this don't usually get greenlit for a second season.
I will say this right now.
But I will read the whole series.
The score stats on it is 7.59 out of 10.
That's
on my anime list.
That's okay. I think my anime list tends to, like, the ratings tend to be higher. Like, I think the lowest most shows get is a 5. I think there's 1 0.
It doesn't show the episode count right now. It just shows aired January 12th, 2019 to question mark.
Oh, so it's up. Maybe it's up in the air still.
It's definitely possible.
For as popular it is as it is, I really hope they keep going with it. But hey, just out of curiosity, you should sort my anime list by rating. I want to see what the worst rated show on my anime list is.
I don't know how to do that.
I have a feeling I know what it is. Oh, it better not be Golden Boy. Golden Boy's a 10 out of 10. So, how do you like my swimming? Do they still have that for sale at the game store? I need to buy that. I need to own Golden Boy.
Anime search, maybe?
Oh, no, I know what it's going to be. It's called The Wings of Something.
Rankings. That's most popular. I don't think there's a way to sort by least popular.
No, you know, I'm competing with you on this. I'm pretty sure I can find it.
I'm sure you can. I don't use my anime list that much anymore. But boy, I do have to say, I'm pretty sure it's from me to you. Still pretty high up there on the list. That was a good romance one.
10 worst anime of all time, my anime list. Okay, here we go. Okay.
It can't be great.
Hametsu no Mars, otherwise known as Mars of Destruction. Oh, what was that? Oh, Nick watched it.
Ooh.
There was a show that Nick watched that blew him out of the water because it was like, hey, this is a show about. He actually liked it for some reason. He was like, this is really bad, but you need to watch it.
You know, that sounds like a Nick thing, though.
No,
like,
me and
this is so bad, I love it.
Nick and I are both highly appreciative of terrible things. Hanoka Pupa. Pupa sounds familiar for some reason. Vampire Holmes. Okay, hold on. I need to read the plot for this. Despite
Sherlock
what American
Holmes,
television would have you believe, supernatural detective shows aren't necessarily a recipe for success. That goes double if the show in question is adapted from a mobile phone game.
Oh no.
Studio Kukuri didn't have much to work with, but what little they had, they did even less with. Instead of solving cases, Holmes and Hudson spend their time lazing around an apartment they refuse to pay rent for. Hikikomori character. This show's so bad it's making me die.
This kind of sounds like the devil's a part-timer.
Hikikomori characters can be
Vampire
funny,
Holmes.
but not when they're given inexcusably stilted animation and the blandest comedy you'll ever seen. Even for a half-hour runtime, it's truly wasted. So, it's about, I'm assuming, a vampire Sherlock Holmes and Watson, but instead of doing anything with those characters, like, what's the point of even naming them Sherlock and Hudson if it has nothing to do with solving crimes? I don't know. I think we're going to have to watch that.
I don't know.
Here it is. This is the one I was talking about. Garzy's Wing. This is one of the ones I knew about. It's absolutely terrible, and we're going to watch it sometime.
Please no.
Wander Momo. Just looking at the screenshot for that's enough. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh
no!
God.
Oh
Logan,
no!
What the fuck?
Oh no! Okay, so
Get that off your screen.
it's called Dark Cat, and the thumbnail is I'm assuming a schoolgirl's legs is taking up most of the frame, and there's like a weird demon ghost thing hanging on the ceiling
with stuff all over it.
Yeah, and it's got that classic tentacle like freakiness going on. But what really creeps me out is, like, it's obvious, like, these tentacles are, like, wrapping around her legs and stuff like that, but they're not from something else. They seem to be growing out of her. There's one protruding from her calf.
Please
she has these weird, like, calcium deposits on her legs. Oh, man, and it looks old. Goofy title aside, 1991's Dark Cat feels like it was created without any real effort. It looks and sounds like Garzy's Wing, except that most of the actors in Dark Cat are former hentai actors who haven't quite made the transition. In fact, the whole thing watches like a hentai that never quite gets to the goods. From the weirdly sexual shots to the tentacle demons the heroes battle. Yeah, those things just look fucking gross.
Hate tentacle stuff.
The tone of the dialogue and art wavers between comedy, horror, and porn, and inconsistently fumble at incomprehensible story. And believe it or not, the English dub might even be worse than Garzy's Wing.
Ooh, rough.
Yeah, so that's the reason I wanted to look this up, was because I wanted to find Garzy's Wing on here.
I don't recognize any of those.
I know Garzy's Wing. Garzy's Wing is absolute trash from what I've seen. But I'm surprised some of these are actually like modern. Like I think I've originally a cult body horror manga is what Pupa was. I think I've heard about Pupa. I think I remember seeing it on Crunchyroll. Yeah, because it aired in 2014. I think I've seen the thumbnail for that back in the day. But the ending sentence for this is, it's like if somebody watched Tokyo Ghoul while drunk and struggled to describe it to her friend the following morning while eating her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's wonderful. Now I'm just on yeah, wow. Yeah, so Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the top anime of all
Get
time.
over it.
Nah, well, I mean,
it's good, but number one still?
Yeah, I mean, number 3 is Gintama, and you've never watched Gintama.
I think I've tried before. It looks like a bit of a hard anime to get into.
It is. So it's all puns, and they're puns written in Japanese. So you gotta really try to get it. Steins Gate's number 4. Steins Gate's pretty good.
See, Steins Gate doesn't surprise me as much because recently they got the Steins Gate 0 or whatever.
Oh no, people hate that. People hate that. It's bad.
But it makes sense that getting released caused a resurge of the original.
No, I don't think. I think Steins Gate has been popular from the beginning. Like I remember,
right. it was popular. But what I'm saying is, it may cause either new audiences to watch it, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how much that might have affected it. Monogatari's on here. Clanid's number 14. I would have thought that'd be higher.
That's Clanid After Story.
Yeah, but also it's fighting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons of Gintama. Like Gintama holds so many different spots on here.
I don't like it when they do that.
March comes in with like a Lions on here. That's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't like it?
I wasn't that into it.
I enjoyed it. I didn't finish it, but I thought it was a very interesting story and it looked very pretty.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I was with you when I expressed surprise at seeing it. That was a continuing simulcast. I didn't realize it was still going on.
Yeah, we just saw recently that it got a season 2. That was really interesting to me. But also, I know this movie. It's a fucking Ghibli movie, but they have the Japanese name and it's hurting me.
Yeah.
I can't. What movie is this? What movie is this? Oh no! I should know this movie.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a familiar one.
Oh no! Oh man, I feel so bad. Spirited Away! Oh, I feel like trash for not knowing that. Made in Abyss. I've heard that's really good. Rakugo's pretty good. Oh, look, more Gintama. Cowboy Bebop is 26.
As a not fan of Cowboy Bebop, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah, but you also just refuse to watch anything that
I watched it.
Princess Mononoke, Great Teacher Onizuka. I've got that on DVD. We need to watch that. That's on the list. Howl's Moving Castle, Gurren Lagann, another show you refuse to watch.
What? I've watched all of Gurren Lagann.
What did you think of it?
I already told you I liked that one. It's the only mech I've ever liked.
Oh, okay, cool. I just need to hear you say that every once in a while.
The ending sucked, though.
Oh, yeah, so for the next manga we read after we're done with Grand Blue and Girlfriend,
good ending.
Domestic Girlfriend. Yeah, so Good Ending is your next choice,
yes.
Right? My next choice is Monster.
What is Monster?
It is a mystery. It's a horror mystery thriller that I've been wanting to read for a while. So, the way this is gonna work, the way this show's gonna work is because both of us really like stuff and we both want to talk about it with someone, but nobody does this except for us, and we have completely different tastes. So the concept behind the show, I think, is going to be each of us forcing each other to read something that we definitely wouldn't read otherwise, getting us out of our comfort zone. And I know Brandon is achieving his goal with Domestic Girlfriend. On me, I'm definitely starting to like it. I guess next week's episode we'll find out how Brandon likes Gray and Blue.
It's honestly hard to get through.
Hard?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll talk more
I'm
about
only on,
that.
like, volume 3 so far.
Wow. Well, stop spoiling. Stop spoiling our next episode. Grand Blue. We'll see you next time.